you suffer from chronic CFED or can't focus energy drain? Try over-the-counter Vibrant. One tablet contains the same caffeine as a cup of coffee, but without the calories or coffee breath. Vibrant. Caffeine, not coffee. Taking Vibrant may result in increased productivity and decreased dread in setting alarms. Unexpected enjoyment of the graveyard shift has been associated with Vibrant. Vibrant may be a better budget option than drinking coffee. It may also decrease the urge to doze off, skip work, or exhibit signs of slacking. All jokes aside, always read the label, take only as directed, and limit caffeine as it may cause real side effects. Not for children under age 12.
Tracie Mahan, and I'm here with a wonderful co-host guest. So many things to say about Teresa. So Teresa Yanaros, and I'm hoping I said that right, is an advocate for spiritual enlightenment, shares inspirational perspectives through her YouTube channel, Divine Frequency, and provides spiritual coaching, assists in co-creating of the consciousness and manifesting a positive future. Come on aboard, Teresa. I'm going to ask you a whole lot of questions, and let's get this audience up here chatting. We do have a few chatters in the chat room. I'm going to have you say hello, and then I'll tell everybody how to get into the chat rooms.
Hi, how's everybody doing tonight? Glad to be here, Tracie. Thanks for having me.
So the thing that I forgot that I was going to ask you is, how do you pronounce your last name?
You're like, I thought of that right before. It's Yanaros.
2 seconds. Oh, say it again.
Yanaros. It's Greek, so it's actually spelled Giannaris. So if that helps, so it's Yanaros.
Oh, wow.
Like if, yeah.
See, that would have been an important question to remember. So I'm going to blame Mercury retrograde. I was sitting there right before the show went live, and I was going, there was something I was going to ask you. What was it? What was it? In 3 seconds before we go live, it's like, it's her last name. How do you say it? All right.
Everyone knows how to pronounce it.
Fun tonight. Yeah. We got lots of callers on the board. So what I want to tell the callers is we are going to talk a little bit prior to taking phone calls. We are, Teresa has agreed to do tarot readings tonight for us, so that's going to be pretty fun. If you would like to join us in the live chat rooms, I have 2 that are going on right now. If you go over to Facebook, you can go to Heart and Soul Radio Chat, and that is a private group. So please, if you're not part of it, just ask to join, and I'll get you in there as soon as I can. And there will be a chat banner at the top of the page. It says chat here. It has Teresa's pretty little picture on it, and you guys can ask questions or make comments below that. There's also a blog talk chat room that is open, and I only have 2 screens, and I have multiple things I have to look at. So my promise to you is that I will try to get to all those screens and look for your questions and comments. The blog talk chat is, I'm going to admit, I'm raising my hand. I forget to go look at it, you guys, because I'm interviewing. I'm looking at different things, different pages. I'm watching callers. So it's a lot to handle on my end, but I do my best. So that's my promise. I'll do my best. And
well, Tracie, I can keep an eye on the Heart and Soul Radio Chat. I have that up right now on Facebook, so I'm happy to help you kind of navigate that.
See, you're always so helpful. Thank you. All right. And so we do have a couple people over in the Blog Talk chat. Hello to you guys over there. You always show up as numbers for me, or I'd shout out your names. And hello to Kathy and Jeff over in our other chat. And we have some that are listening that are not chatting. So I'm going to say hi to Susie and Debbie and Marie, Denise, Beth, Teresa. Oh, that's you.
Hi.
Maureen, Elizabeth, Kaylee, Erica, and Brandy. Thank you for coming in and listening with us. And then all of you on the call line, we will get to you in the second half. Okay. I love that signature hello and goodbye that you do. So if you guys are not familiar with Teresa, she's fun to watch, follow, support over on YouTube. And you do the, you still do the Stillness in the Storm show as well?
Yes, I do. So, and I can give a quick background on who I am for your listeners who don't know who I am. If you're cool with that, I can kind of.
I'm cool with it. You're going to do way better at it than I am.
Well, because I know me a little bit better.
You do.
So, my name is Teresa Yanaros. I'm an independent media journalist, and my project is called Divine Frequency, as you know. And you guys can find me on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, the moon, on a unicorn. My family was stationed at Royal Air Force Base Woodbridge during the Rendlesham Forest incident, which is a very prominent UFO sighting. And this is why ufology and government conspiracy has always been a huge of mine growing up. So after I graduated college with a degree in journalism from the University of Texas, Arlington, I went into the technical side of editing, and then I eventually realized that my purpose was different than working an 8-to-5 job in the Matrix. So when I was about 25, I'm 30 now, so this was about 5 years ago, I quit my job, I sold everything I owned, and I moved across the country. I wrote a book, and I started a YouTube channel, and I started speaking out about topics of interest to me, like consciousness, spirituality, aliens was a huge one, the Rendlesham Forest incident, and the secret space program. So I now work with a media project called Stillness in the Storm. It's an awesome news media website. You can check them out at stillnessinthestorm.com. I do their news broadcast on Sundays. I also work with the Full Disclosure Project, which is a grassroots movement for disclosure. I also work with the Unity Project and, of course, my media project, Divine Frequency. I do spiritual coaching. I do business coaching and teach people about social media, all kinds of fun stuff. And I'm a public speaker, so I've got a lot coming up for 2018. So glad to be here, Tracie.
Shoo. Okay, guys, and that's the show. Well, it was nice. No, just I think I caught up with you on all the websites you were throwing out there, and I put them on the Facebook chat room, and I will, as you're sharing more things and I'm listening, I will move some of those over to the Blog Talk chat as well for the listeners over there. I just like you guys to have access to amazing people like Teresa and be able to contact her for the coaching, for the readings, for the support, follow what she does, get educated on things. I'm one of the believers that mainstream media is not telling us what we need to know. So people like Teresa are great to follow because there's always good information that comes up that we don't know.
Glad you brought that up because that's a wonderful topic to start with, because I really do believe that mainstream media is important for us to follow in the sense of knowing what the mainstream media is saying so that you can supplement that material with additional sources. So that's sort of my take on that. Like, yes, I follow mainstream media, but it's sort of like keeping an eye on what they kind of want you to believe, how they're presenting the information. And then it's always important to kind of expand out and look at the other side as well, which is a core of what we do at Stillness in the Storm. And then we talk a lot about discernment and how to research and look at evidence. And that's a huge part of it. And what's so fun about this day and age is that it's 2017 and we are our own researchers and we get to decide and we get to discern. And there's so much information out there and we do it together as a community.
Yeah. So what brought you to, I'm going to jump ship on that.
Do it, girl.
I'm going to start with the tarot. What brought you to doing readings with tarot? Now you say you're not a psychic. You use the cards as your guidance. Tell me how that works.
I would love to tell you about this. So when I sort of went through my huge awakening experience, I mean, it's been a process as always, but I was raised Catholic. And so I was taught certain things that, and I'm not trashing the Catholic religion because I actually love, I love the Catholic faith. Don't get me wrong.
And here we go. Yeah. How many out there are Catholic? And we all raise our hand. There's actually been a lot of study around that, and that a lot of the Catholic or a lot of the spiritual people did have that Catholic background or something close to it. So I thought that was pretty entertaining. But yeah. Yes,
I do have a lot of people that subscribe to my channel that were Catholic, and I think because I talk about it, I kind of pull that through law of attraction. I kind of pull that energy in. But whenever I went through my huge awakening experience when I was probably 26, when I read this book called Journey of Souls by Dr. Michael Newton. I don't know if you've read this book.
No.
Okay, it's a wonderful book. I highly recommend it. But anyway, I started having spontaneous out-of-body experiences, and so I started writing a book about it. And when I started writing this book, I realized that there was just so much more than what met the eye. Like, it was overwhelming me. There's just the sheer amount of information that I was coming into. I started researching everything, and I got interested in all sorts of things that I never had been interested in before. And when I was talking to my friend, she was like, oh, yeah, you should go get your palm read. I'm like, that's a good idea. I should check this out. I don't know anything about this new world, this new palm reading land. Let's see what this is about. And she said, and I have tarot cards if you're interested in that. And I was like, what? Tarot cards? That sounds so like woo-woo, and the crystal ball lady with the gypsy like hair or whatever. And she was like laughing at me. She said, that's not really what it's like. And I said, well, what is that even about? And she said, well, every card means something different, and then you can apply your situation to the card, and it helps you come up with ideas for how to have like a creative solution to a problem. And I said, okay, that I can get behind that. That doesn't sound too woo-woo. And she's laughing at me. So I went and I bought a deck, and it was so weird, Tracie, because when I opened this deck, and I'm holding it in my hand right now, the deck that I got, it was like a moment of, it's like, the way I describe it is like if you had amnesia and then you all of a sudden like see a face and then you remember it for the first time again,
Mm-hmm.
That's what it was like. And I just kind of threw myself into research and studying and learning everything about it as much as I could. And after about 5 days of this intense research, I went to go home to see my family in Texas, and I was in an airport. And this particular day, my flight was canceled. It was like one of those days that is just not your day, right? I mean, I was in an airport for 12 hours, but I swear it's because, I swear it's because the universe was not wanting me to fly that day, because I was sitting in an airport restaurant and I'm reading myself some tarot cards, and people started sitting down from across from me and asking for readings. And I had only been reading for like 5 days. And I was like, okay, I guess we'll see what happens here. And I was telling people, I don't really know what I'm doing, but sure, let's do it. And I had such an intensely positive reaction. A couple people were crying. We were having some weird synchronicities. It got weird. And then from that point, I realized I had a knack for it. So I started a business. And ever since then, tarot's just really become a huge part of my life. I use it every day, and I've helped a lot of people through a lot of things, including myself. So I love it. And I don't necessarily think that I'm a psychic, but then again, I think that everybody, to a certain extent, you could say have psychic ability. I sort of
let me in there, Teresa. You're a psychic. Okay. There, I had to say it. It was busting out of the seam. But it's what does psychic mean to you? And so it could have a different definition to me than it does to you, and what that might mean. So, are you intuitive? Very much so. Are you able to read people? Yes, you are, because you are a beautiful light worker that is able to be in their energy and understand them at a deeper level. You've got some amazing gifts, and so let's not shadow them by saying, no, I'm not, you are. You can call it whatever you want to. I'm just going to call it out the way I want to.
Well, I appreciate that. And I think that what's important for what I try to do is I try to, and first of all, I want to acknowledge what you're saying, and I do agree with you. I'm with you. I do think there's an importance in trying to pull out from as much jargon as we can when trying to appeal to a larger audience. And so that's something that I try to do. I know that I'm not perfect at it at all, but I try to make myself accessible to as many people as I can through not trying to like throw scary words at people that go, wait, well, that means something different to me,
Yeah. I have some friends that do amazing healing work, and they do it through their church, and they pull in the Holy Spirit and they do their healing work, and they're very intuitive, and they actually do what I call billet questions, where you write something down and then they have you put it in an envelope, and so they can't see what the question is, and they just hold the envelope and they pray over it, and then they get insight as to what they're supposed to do, and then they'll go do it, and then they open up the envelope later to find out what it was that the person wrote down that needed healing, and they're always right on. It's like, okay, so what do you call that? Because that's what I do, only I call it something different, like Reiki work or intuitive or, chakra clearing, whatever it might be. So it's
exactly.
But they do it through their church, and so they call that working with the Holy Spirit. And I think it's beautiful. People do it in all the religions, and they get to call it whatever they want to. I just think it's funny when people get scared at the word psychic. And it's, I think that's partly because of what television and history has done with that. But
I love that perspective, and it's very refreshing to hear you say that, because I've had a very similar experience, and I actually write about this in my book, exactly what you're talking about. And I learned about Reiki, and I'm like, oh, what's this Reiki energy? And I start studying it, and I'm like, wait a second, this ripples out across all belief systems, and they call it all different kinds of things. The laying on of hands is what they say in the Catholic Church. It's energy work in other regards. And when I started working with it, I realized, wait a second, I've been using Reiki energy my whole life. You compare it to when you kiss a boo-boo on a child's knee, like that's using Reiki, or you put your hands around something that hurts, But whenever my sister was pregnant, I was administering Reiki. She was face down on the bed, just relaxing, and I went to sweep her aura at the end of the experience. I'm about 3 feet off of her back, not touching her at all, and I sweep my hand down her back like this, and she goes, woo, and she turns over, she said, oh my God, I thought that you just put icy hot on my back. She does the exact same motion that I had just done with my hand, and I was like, that is such a crazy synchronicity. It's cool.
Those are the best stories, though. It's such confirmation that there's something happening there, and there's the evidence of it right there. So it is powerful. It's good. And I know that we have some people that just joined us, and we have callers on the board. I want to remind the callers that we will get to the readings in the second half of the show, and we've got a couple new people in the chat. So hello and welcome. I'm talking to Teresa, and I'm going to have her say her own last name, because now that I know I said it wrong, I will only butcher it.
It's Yanaros.
Yanaros. Maybe by the end of the show I'll be able to say it.
Yeah. Perfect.
Without me
party.
saying it first. That's the key. So, all right.
Which, by the way, how do you pronounce your last name while we're at it?
Mahan.
Mahan. Okay, cool. Got it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny because there's a what do I want to call him? Rodeo guy named Larry Mahan, and somewhere in the mix, I guess there is a relation with that. And I was at a feed store yesterday buying boots for my son, and they were trying to find, how all the stores have these little cards now, and they're like, do you have one of our cards? And we're like, I think so. So they start looking it up, and there pops up Larry Mahan. And it's like, well, I would figure that the rodeo guy would be in the feed store, the farm animal supply store system. But anyways, it is a married name, and I kept the name because of my children, but I am no longer with the Mahan group. But, it's one of those things. Your kid's got that name, I'm going to keep the name, and eventually that's going to get changed. So that'll be interesting when I go to change everything out of that Mahan name. But for now, I'm just having some fun with it. I also had a gal that reads names on there on my show, and she kind of told me that the sooner I can do that, the better, because it's not in my favor to keep the name. I was like, oh, that kind of sucks. Anyway, we'll get back to you. You've got you do speaking engagements all over, and I've been following you the last several months here, and just seeing all the fantastic things that you've been able to get to go do, people you've got to meet. And so I kind of was hoping you would share a little bit about your speaking engagements and the different experiences you're having with that.
Oh, wow. Oh, my gosh. I could talk about that for so long. I did so much last year. Let's see. Okay. Where do I start? Well, so my first conference that I went to with all the woo-woo stuff, let's call it that. I don't know, conscious life kind of conferences. I want
everyone to get on board with woo-woo, because I always call it woo-woo. And people look at me and go, woo-woo? And I'm like, the spiritual stuff.
I love it. I'm all for that. So I went to Contact in the Desert. Was super awesome, and I saw some really cool people talk and all that kind of stuff. And I met some people that I'd been following for a really long time. through Gaia TV and everything. So it was really neat. And I started working with people. So because of my background in media, I went and I was doing my journalism thing, my field journalism thing, where I'm just going and I'm taking it all in and then blasting it out to social media. And people saw that and they were like, hey, wait a second, we could use her. Like, we could use her skills, you know? And so I sort of got brought in to the group and I started helping people with their social media and with their businesses. And then, so I got invited to go to some of the other conferences too. So then I went to ESETI, which was really cool. And that was in Washington State, James Gilliland's ranch. And they see a lot of UFOs out there. And so I got to see my first light in the sky type of situation. And it was a lot of them. And there were a lot of people there. It was really cool.
I'm going to segue, but I just had Lynn Clark on last week. She's one of the volunteers at Gilliland Ranch at the ESETI. And I've had James on, but same thing. My first experience, even though I've wanted to go for a while now, my first experience over there was this summer, and it's just such a welcoming place to go. And you know, you walk onto the property, and it's like you just step foot into home. It's just so comfortable there. But amazing stuff. I don't know if you've seen some of their footage lately, but they've gotten several pictures with craft in the pictures. James posted one the other day where there were 2 UFOs and a rainbow. It was really cool. So go ahead.
That's so cool.
Keep talking about him. I love what he does there, and he does amazing work, and he's very inspiring and reminds us all to be good people.
Yes. So some of the listeners were asking about the tarot deck that I use, so I linked to it in the chat if you guys want to go buy that. It's an amazing deck. So yes, ESETI was amazing, and James Gilliland is really cool. I don't know if you watched, but I actually have an interview with him on my YouTube channel that if you haven't watched it, you should go check it out. It was so much fun.
How can I not watch 2 of my favorite people doing a show together? Why would I not watch that?
Well, I can't wait to have him back on the show because I want to ask him all about star families. Like, I want to do an entire episode just on ET star families. I would love that. So anyway, he's cool.
That would be great. Yeah, he's cool.
Then I went to the Mufon Symposium, and that was amazing because it was more of like the mainstream side, if you can even have a mainstream side of ufology. I just said it. That's really a thing. It was very professional. A lot of the really world-renowned researchers that are more grounded in 3D land, which is incredibly important to the industry. So as a journalist, I think it's so important to be able to see as many sides of the same story as you can, and MUFON really provided that to me. I was able to go and see a panel of all kinds of different people. You know, you had Richard Dolan, who's a researcher who's highly respected in the field. You have Dr. Michael Sala, who's a very highly respected researcher. You've got Corey Good and all different kinds of people up there. So it was pretty interesting. And I met John Hardison, who's the executive director of MUFON. And for those of you who don't know, MUFON is the Mutual UFO Network. And the story behind this company is really cool because it's nonprofit. And they basically started gathering data on people that were seeing lights in the sky. And they've been doing this for a little bit of time now. I don't remember exactly when they got started, but they have so much important data that they are bringing to the masses. So MUFON is a really, really cool company. And I'm actually going to be doing an interview with John Hardison here in 2018, probably early 2018, January. So we'll be talking a lot more about MUFON because I think they're doing some really important work over there.
Wow. And you got to meet William Tompkins before he passed, right?
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
he's another amazing one.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh. I was so humbled. So he's one of the most prominent, or was one of the most prominent whistleblowers for advocating for the secret space program. And I was able to meet him and talk with him. And I watched his speech. So he gave a speech. I got to watch his last speech before he passed. And whenever I was talking to him, he was telling me about how important the work that I was doing was. And he was saying how important it was to share all of the information that we were coming into and that we needed to share with everybody the darkness. And it was so crazy that he ended up passing on the day of the eclipse. I thought that was a really weird synchronicity. Like a couple weeks later, the day that the darkness was illuminated was the way I saw it symbolically. So
very powerful. Yeah. That one, maybe that's what I didn't know because it just seemed like that was such an appropriate day. And I was like, I don't know why, but that just seemed like, just the feel behind it when they released that he had passed. I was like, of course he passed on the eclipse. And then I'm like, why would I say that? So now it makes more sense. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool.
He did some amazing work. And so Eclipse of Disclosure was an amazing experience. So that was, I was invited to speak at Eclipse of Disclosure, and I love public speaking. That's kind of my bag, baby. I love it. So when we were there at Eclipse of Disclosure, and Corey Good asked me, Teresa, are you nervous? And I said, nope. I am not nervous at all, because I just like getting on stage and having, I take my research seriously, and I took my presentation very seriously, and I just get so excited about being able to share my passion with people that it's like there's nothing to be afraid of, because it's like, look, people, we got information to look at. We got work to do. So let's do it together. That's kind of the way I look at it.
It's true. We do need to all come together, and each of us reaches a different group of people. So that's why I think this is important to get these messages out and share them. So very cool. I have to ask, because I've been following Corey Good since before Gaia. And actually, the first time I actually seen his wife was when you interviewed her. So that was pretty cool.
Stacy, I love Stacy.
Yeah, she seems so amazing herself, and everything that she's been through to support Corey. And if you guys don't know who Corey is, maybe Teresa, you'd probably be the better one to explain his background.
Happy
I
to.
find him very fascinating to follow. Yeah,
so when he was 6 years old, he was allegedly inducted into the military abduction program. He was taken in and taught all kinds of different stuff. He was identified as an intuitive empath. So they took him into basically a special school until he was about 17. And then they straight up took him off planet. They were like, cool, we could use someone like you. And so he went off planet, and he was doing work in the secret space program for 20 years. And then the crazy part, if that's not crazy enough, he was age and time regressed back to about 5 or 6 minutes after he was taken when he was 17. And usually they mind wipe you, and they try to, but he retained his memories. So he had 20 years worth of memories in 6 minutes. And so he lived his life for a while, probably thinking he was crazy. But then at a certain point, he started doing research. Yeah.
And it sounds fascinating, but to live it was probably pretty torturous, because you're not sure what it is why am I thinking all of this? Why is this all in my head? So
I can only imagine. Yeah. That's why, I always wondered about his story with his wife. I was always thinking, she has to have the most amazing story ever. Just because, I was raised I was in the Air Force, so I was raised in a military family, and knowing what, I could only imagine what she could have gone through. So when I met her at Contact in the Desert, I walked up to her and I said, hey, I've been following your husband's story for a few years now, and I just want you to know that I appreciate you and the role that you play in all of this, and I can only imagine how much you've been through. And if you would ever want to bring your extremely important testimony to the world, I would be honored to interview you on my channel, Divine Frequency. And she was like, wow, I was kind of floored by it. No one had ever asked her before. And she went and thought about it. And then the next day, her and Corey came up to me and they said, we would love for you to interview Stacy. So that's on my YouTube channel. But it was really epic, because when she was telling her story to me, it was just such strength was just outpouring, how you would go through that, where you're married to this man, and then telling you at a certain point what he's been through, and then
she had to want to medicate him or something. I'm assuming that he was keeping that quiet, and then one day just couldn't anymore.
Right. And then
so you're marrying somebody you think is a normal guy, and then all of a sudden he starts telling you UFO abduction stories, and it's like, what happened to my husband, right?
Right. Well, and the evidence that they were seeing of it, that she was seeing of it too, had to have been very intense.
And there's good stories about that on your interview. And so, again, you guys, I have the links to Teresa's YouTube station on the chat page in Facebook. And let me make sure I'm not missing anybody requesting. Looks like we're good.
I like your robot sound. That was awesome.
I know. Sound effects are my thing. So,
I love it.
Okay. Looks like we're good there. And so they're in the chat room, both chat rooms, all the links to these different shows. Well, the link to your YouTube so that they can get to the different shows. So very good. To me, that's very exciting. You get to do, oh, look at you're so quick. You posted it on Facebook on our chat page. I'm going to copy that and bring it over to you guys in the chat room on Blog Talk so that you have it as well. So this one I'm posting right now is the actual interview with Stacy, and that way you get both. You get Stacy and Teresa here, and yeah, it's wonderful. Is this the one with Corey? The one you're doing now?
This is the one with James Gilliland.
Oh, okay. It's not. It's only popping up the link for me. So. Coco is in the Blog Talk chat saying, behind every great man is an incredible woman. Amen.
So
and
true. Hi, Coco. How you doing, girl?
So, very fun. I don't know why that one's not popping up for me the right way. But anyways, moving on. So much to say. I am going to say to the callers, if you have questions, please press the number 1. It puts a question mark by your name or by your number, so I know that you have a question or that you would like a reading today. So that helps me out if you guys do that for me. And okay, anything else about the speaking engagements?
Let's see. Well, I can announce this. I haven't even announced this yet, so this is cool.
Is this an exclusive for my show?
This is totally exclusive. Are you ready for it?
I'm ready.
Let me grab a link. Okay, so I have been asked to speak at Conscious Life Expo in LA, February 11th of 2018.
Woohoo!
Yes.
That's awesome.
I'm super
Congratulations.
excited. Yes. Thank you. Yeah. So I got to represent the millennials. I got to go in there and be like, what's up, y'all? Millennials represent.
I was going to call you a millennial earlier, but I didn't know if that word offends people or not. There's so much back and forth on the millennials. But
I'm proud to be a millennial. There are so many millennials that I'm actually really proud of our generation, I have to say. So there are good ones.
My oldest son falls into that category, and I have to say, you guys were born knowing how to work computers. It's like I'm 46. And when I went through high school, we had to learn the programming, not building websites and making videos that everybody's learning how to do now. But we had to learn the / backslash, whatever it was, RAM, memory. It was when computers were just coming out and people were like, oh, look, I can make my name go across the screen several times. That was like the big thing. That's how old I am.
Screensaver.
So then I have kids, and they sit down to a computer and they start punching buttons, and I'm like, oh, be careful, and they all know what they're doing. They're like, oh, here, Mom, I'll show you how to do this. And I'm just like, where do you guys learn this?
They're so fast.
You guys are born knowing it. It's amazing. So, cheers to the millennials.
Yeah. Woohoo! Even the younger ones, though. I mean, like my brother, he's 23, and man, he just flies through stuff. I'm like, I can't keep up with him. So it's just going to get crazier and crazier. Those 5-year-olds.
I'm going to shout out to the little ones that are coming in right now because they are so freaking psychic. It's not even funny. And people will call me and be like, hey, am I going to have a baby? And it's like, okay, let me tune in. And then all of a sudden I'm like, this baby will communicate to me like nothing I've had before. And I'm like,
wow.
Yeah, you're getting a very psychic baby. So, but and I love it when people ask me that, and these high energy babies are coming in, and I can tell them, you got a psychic baby coming. What does that mean? That means you have a highly sensitive human being. That means that they're not going to react the same to things as other babies, maybe, you know, and they're going to be a little bit more sensitive to energy and to the shift and to solar flares and to people's attitudes and grumpiness and joyfulness and all of it. They're just going to be more sensitive to it. So be aware, because if you're aware, you know, and I have 3 kids, and I'll forget. I mean, the story I have around my youngest one is really, the short version is I was told when I was going to get pregnant with him, and he had 1 shot of getting here, and he took it, and I swear to God, he was like Houdini. He could biolocate. I would have him by my leg, and the next thing I knew, he was across the room, and I'm like, how did he do that? Did anybody see him do that? Nobody would see him do that. I have story after story. Nobody would babysit him for me because we called him Houdini. He would disappear. And it's like, so I don't know what that kid's got going on, but I know he wanted to get here. And so he's got something going on. But anyway, so the kids that are coming in are amazing. And to me, I look at that as a bright light that we're doing something right, because why else would all of these beautiful beings be coming in right now? So
I love it.
It's a good sign.
That's amazing.
That's what I say.
I can get behind that. I feel really good about all that.
Okay, I have a secret question coming in the back door, not on a chat.
Fancy.
Well, you're gonna laugh just like I did. She wants to know, how does it feel, or how do you like being one of quote unquote Corey's kids?
Oh my gosh, it's so funny because like I actually know Corey's kids. I'm very close with Corey Good's family, and it's funny because whenever I'm talking about his kids, I'm like, and then Corey's kids, and then I have to laugh to myself.
And to put that out there to people, there's some that are trying to start rumors, or, you know, I don't understand why people got to be like that, but
well, let me give a quick background for the people that don't know what the heck we're talking about. Back at around the time of Contact in the Desert, there was a large group of us media people that were, I guess we got noticed, and people saw us taking pictures with Corey Good and everything. And so they were like, oh, these media people, they just are Corey's kids and all this weird stuff, which doesn't make any sense because we're all like over the age of 30 and we're all journalists and we're professionals. And we're like, what are these people talking about? But it was like an attempt to kind of, I don't know, cut us down, but it didn't work at all because we just kept doing what we were doing. But it's kind of funny now because it's like, you know, that phrase will come up every so often and we'll have a good chuckle.
I had a good chuckle reading it. Like, oh my gosh. But, you know, you guys didn't put any energy there. And I think, you know, I haven't heard Corey's kids' terminology in a while, so it must be fading away.
Well, we were too busy. Well, they realized that we weren't actually just like trying to ride some coattails of a famous person. That wasn't what it was about at all. We were here doing the good work, and we take disclosure seriously, and that's who we are. That's our crew. So.
And I have to tell you, I applaud Corey for the courage it had to take to step forward and tell people what he knows, because it can sound crazy. And so for him to step out and to do that, and with David Wilcock, you know, doing the interviews, and it's just kudos to him. That took a lot to do that. It sounds like it cost him a lot to do that, but it sounds like he's on the recovery of that now. So hopefully more and more people learn about him, support him. And there's so much information out there. It's like, it's amazing what our world could be. And I'm hoping we're heading that direction. So
you bring up a good point, and I'd like to sort of abstract this, because I think as more and more people are coming out talking about the underlying secrets that are happening on our planet, and we have the internet, and people are feeling a little bit more protected because of everybody that's coming out and saying, hey, I can corroborate that. Hey, I can corroborate that. So it's becoming a little bit less crazy. And I think more and more people are standing up because they're being triggered, because they're hearing something that's actually making them remember something. A lot of times you can have blanket memories, or whatever they're called, screen memories, that will cover up things that have happened to you on an ET level. And then these kinds of experiences will start to come out into your consciousness, whether it be through hypnosis or just being triggered by other people talking about it. So I think it's fascinating, and it's also very relevant, and I believe it will continue to become even more relevant as we move into 2018 and beyond.
Yeah. So, oh my goodness. I keep looking at the clock going, I knew this would happen. It's like, there goes the time.
Well, we're having so much fun. We can hang out a bit.
We're going to hang out a bit. Okay, so I'm going to move on to the next thing that we have down here to chat about, and that's dreams and working with spirit guides. So tell me about that.
Yes. So when I told you a little bit about how I started having spontaneous out-of-body experiences when I started writing my book in response to a huge shift in consciousness that I went through after I read the book Journey of Souls. This book is about reincarnation, but it's so much more than being about reincarnation. Because at first I was like, reincarnation, what is this? Like I come from a Catholic background. That's ridiculous. And then what I learned was that this doctor had actually done 10 years worth of research into case studies where he would put people into, everyone knows this is mainstream, but through hypnosis, you can regress a patient into other points and times in their lives so that you can help them go through healing traumas. Well, there are doctors and you know all about this, but they regress people into past lives. And I know that sounds really crazy to some people, but what this man did, he spent 10 years of his life regressing people into the space between. So after you die and before you come back as another person, you go through this whole experience in between. And he took all of these case studies, he put them together, and he said, you know what? It's pretty much the same story that everybody tells, and let me tell you that story. And so he paints that picture and he uses case studies. Well, so I started thinking about this whole concept of soul family. And what I mean by that is when you incarnate, when you come to the planet, when you come to Earth, you have a group of souls that you're down here with potentially that you're learning with. How cool is that? And you also have souls that you're close to that maybe they're not even incarnated. Maybe they're beyond, but they will help you. They'll give you clues through synchronicities or whatever that might look like, maybe energetically, or they'll give you dreams or whatever this looks like. Everybody can probably think back to a time where they feel like they've been touched by an angel or something like that. People call it different names. But the reality is, I had a crazy cool experience right after I started writing my book. I was 3 days into writing my book, and I thought, I'm trying to remember exactly how this went down. I think I was meditating in my bed, and because I couldn't go to sleep, and I was picturing this like orb in front of me, and I was like kind of putting my consciousness into this orb, and I was using this as a tool for focus. And then all of a sudden, I'm like flying through the ether. And that's the only term that I can use to describe it, because it was like nothing, but it was like space. And I wasn't a body. I was just moving through it as a being. And then I interfaced with one of my soul guides. It was my first time that I had actually experienced like meeting it was like I recognized them. I knew who it was, but we were telepathically connecting. I couldn't see anything. And this guide projected an image. I would love to hear your thoughts on this, Tracie, because I wonder if you've had a similar experience. But it projected this shape in front of me that looked sort of like a dodecahedron, but it kept spinning and shifting into different like sacred geometrical shapes. And then it would stop on like a square image of a past life that I've had, and then it would go, okay, no, that's not the one we're looking for, and then it would go spin, 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 and then stop on a different one, and it's like, no, that's not the one I want to show, and then it would spin, 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 and then it stopped, and then my guide was like, are you ready? We're going to go into a past life, and I won't tell the whole story because it's in my book, and it would take us forever to go through it, but I actually went into an experience to past life, and it was amazing.
I'm sorry, but when you were like, spin, 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 nope, not that one. In my mind, you're holding this magic 8-ball and shaking it.
Yes. Like, oh my God, I love that.
Like, and then a past life would pop up, and you're like, nope, not that one. So,
that's amazing. It was just like that.
Well, you know that, and maybe you don't know because we don't know a lot about each other offhand, but past life regressions is what got me into hypnosis, and I took my hypnosis course purely for that manner, because I had a series of dreams that took me into a past life that healed something huge in my life. And it healed it as soon as the thought came out of my mouth, boom, chills all the way up my body, and the thing that had been weighing on me was gone.
Wow.
And once I had that experience, I needed to know how to help other people to move through their stuff that quickly. That could have taken me years to clear that. I may not have even cleared it in this lifetime. And so anyways, that was my passion, is to look at past lives and to help people heal from things that they came into this lifetime with. I've taken Dolores Cannon's QHHT. I'm hoping to take her level 2 in April, just because this is where I want to take people. I want to take them to these places of healing through that, and to hear about the in-between, so powerful with the stuff that we can find out with. You know, we have all of that memory. We just don't have a conscious access to it, at least not in the stages that we're at now. But as we keep evolving, I think that we'll have quick access to it. People like me won't be needed. Sad, sob. But also at the same time, very exciting as we evolve and we don't need those things. You know, for me, I can ask, you know, do I have a lifetime that needs cleared? Yes. What does that look like? And then it'll pop in, and I can start clearing that. Did it today with a friend of mine. You know, it's just an amazing technique to work with. And for the stuff that you were saying with the spinning and then looking at the life, everyone will experience it in a different way. And I'm loving that, because there was such visual with that. So I'll be looking forward to reading that story. Yes, I will. So
yeah. So you, when you see like these past lives that need to be cleared, do you actually like see images in your head, or like what does that process look like for you?
Yeah. Today I was working with a friend of mine, and she's dealing with some stuff, family matters. And so I asked, is this related to a past life? And I get a yes or no. How many? I'll get a number. With this particular thing, we just looked at one past life. It was a time when she was living in Africa, and her husband had ran off and left her to fend for herself and their small child. And so she had to work for other people in order to feed herself and the small child. And there was just so much work, and she felt so abandoned, and no family around to help support her or to give her encouragement. It was fascinating, and I was seeing all of it in my head. Normally, what I like to do is take someone else through the process so that they have the experience of the visual. A lot of times when I take people through the process, I will get the visual with them, and more often than not, our visuals line right up. And so it helps me to guide them to the next thing, because I'm seeing it too. And so it's really cool. It's why I love what I do. So
have you been clairvoyant your whole life?
The interview got swapped.
Oh, sorry. Oh my gosh, I do this all the time. I get so interested. I just love people. I'll shut up.
Quick version. I didn't really know what it was until I was probably about 19. So
okay. Well, you're gonna have to come on Divine Frequency, and I'm gonna have to interview on Divine Frequency. Hear all about it.
Yeah, see, there it works out. We'll share each other. I like it. Okay,
Tracy just slapped my hand.
It's like candy stores, isn't it? It's kids in the candy store.
It is.
Oh, we didn't get to talk about everything, and we're at the point now where we talked about going to callers. We do have a full board of callers as well. So, you know what? We may just have to do it again.
Okay.
Yeah, because unless you want to give us the 5-minute version of, because I'm really we already kind of talked about extraterrestrials, Corey Good, that kind of thing. But what about out-of-body experiences and astral projection? Because this is some fun stuff. And
oh my gosh,
I want you to tell people about it.
Okay, we have to talk about this, because I have not actually talked about this before, and I've been wanting to. So, yeah, I started, after I had this out-of-body experience, it was like spontaneous. I started to research astral projection, and then because I've always had such intense dreams my whole life, and the majority of the time I'm in my dream, I'm lucid. And for those of you who don't know what that means, it means that I know that I'm dreaming and I can control it. So because I have always been that way for the most part, I was able to control coming out of my body and basically projecting out. My spirit is what some people call it. There are a lot of different names for this. Catholics would call it sending out your spirit. Non-Catholics might call it astral projection or soul walking or soul travel. But this one particular time, I had gotten really good at this, and it was the first time that I like controlled an astral projection where I literally I could feel my physical body in my bed, and I could simultaneously I had projected my soul out, my soul body, whatever you want to call it, my astral body. And I was traveling around, and I first I was like soaring around in the sky type deal, which was amazing. I will never forget that. And then I wanted to go to a certain place. And so I came back to my body, and then I went boom, and I projected out again. And I'm standing in front of a door, and I opened the door, and I go into this house, and it was like just as real as like waking life. And sometimes when you're astral projecting, everything actually is hyper. Your senses are even more hyper aware than when you're awake, meaning everything is even more intense and bright, and you can see all of the different details and everything that you wouldn't even be able to see in your conscious waking life. So I walk into this house, and I'm looking around, and I think, wait a second, this is a lot like how my dad would decorate. And then I realized I'm in my dad's house. What the heck? But it wasn't like my dad's house in this life. And then I'm like, wait a second, did I just like project into another dimension? And then I was like, maybe I'm in over my head here. I thought that I like kind of knew what I was doing. Retreat. But you know me, I'm curious. I'm a curious lioness. And so I'm walking through the house, and I'll keep the story short, but I did, meet some people. I did meet a guide. It was really cool. And then I came back to my body, projected out again, and I kept projecting to this house over and over again. So I realized that the experience I was meant to have was to go to this house. It was really amazing, though.
Wow. You kind of make me want to get my hands on you.
Really? Do it. I have one more story, though, that I have to tell that is like the most amazing thing, and you're going to love it. So after I started doing this, I started teaching people how to do it, and I became really successful at teaching people how to astral project accidentally. I don't know how this happened, but I just started to kind of like teach my friends how to do it. And one of my friends actually astral projected into one of my dreams.
Sweet.
It was amazing.
And you guys consciously remembered, or you were lucid dreaming at the time, so you knew what was going on?
Well, that's a good question, but the answer was no. I didn't know that he had astral projected in my dream. But so he became lucid in his dream, and he goes, oh my gosh, I have to find Teresa now. So he gets in his car, and he puts his hands on his steering wheel in his dream, and he goes, take me to Teresa. And he closes his eyes, and he opens his eyes, and he's in a parking lot. Well, now I'm going to go switch and go over to my dreamland. In my dream, I had pulled my car into a parking lot, and I look over, and there's this car that's like with the brights on in my face, and I'm like, who is this person in my dream? And there was no one else in the parking lot but this car, and I knew it was a figure of a man. I'm like, who is this? And I got out of my car, and I went into the building. Well, the way he told it, he was like, and so I'm in the parking lot, and I see you in your car, and I knew you were trying to see who I was, and then you got out of the car, and you went into the building, and I was like, he didn't know about my dream at this point, and telling me this, and like it freaked me out. I was like, dude, it was really cool.
Well, I think that was very nice of you to take your car to a parking lot, because in a dream the car is you. So if you take it to a parking lot, you're taking it to a place where other people can also join you, right?
Oh my gosh, you're so smart. That makes so much sense.
Dreams, that's where I got started, baby. Analyzing dreams.
Oh, I love it. Oh my goodness. We have so much to talk about.
I know. But right now we're going to enlighten some beautiful callers. I'm gonna ask the callers to be polite. We have a lot of callers, so let's have your question ready. Please, we love your stories, but sometimes people get on here and they want to tell a 20-minute story. So let's keep the calls quick. Let's ask the question and go from there, and let's do our best to not tell the whole story. Not that we don't want to hear it. It's a time thing. So we love you. We love your story. But today we're going to keep it a time thing. Okay,
we
first
hate your
caller.
story. Just kidding.
We actually hate your stories. No. That's not true. You know what? You can tell a lot from your story, but that's another show. Okay, so caller 0255, you're on the air. Who are we talking with?
Hello?
Hello.
Hi.
Who are we talking with?
Hi, this is Shay from Pennsylvania.
Hi, Shay.
Hi, thank
I love
you
it when
for
you
having
guys
me.
tell us. I love knowing where you're from because it just shows how far out the show will go, and I love it.
Yeah.
So, what's your question for Teresa?
I'd like to know if there's, I guess what the guides feel I need to know for the coming year ahead.
That's a great question. I love it. Okay, let's see what we've got for you, Shay. Thank you for calling in.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
Would it be wrong if I dialed in and then answered my own call and asked that same question?
Do it. So, Shay, Shay, the message that I have for you is time is of the essence. So I think that you might have some things going on that you have in 2018 that you're planning on doing that seem like they're going to really help your soul development. Is this resonating with you?
Not really. I'm sorry.
No, not at all. So is there anything that you have coming up in 2018 that, or maybe a goal that you're having or a thought that you're having on a goal that you might have, like something that you're interested in doing that maybe you haven't been spending enough time on nurturing?
That would be myself, I guess.
Okay.
In a nutshell.
Gotcha. So what I want you to do is a little bit of reflection as we're in December before the end of the year on how you can nurture your own soul development a little bit more. And what I mean by that is understanding that you have the time and you need to take the time to focus on yourself and finding something that really, truly makes your heart sing. So sometimes we can get caught up in our day-to-day life or other people's needs, and sometimes we put ourselves second and we forget that we are so important and you are the magician of your life, and what you want and what makes you happy is incredibly important. So tapping into that in 2018 is going to make you sing on a soul level.
All right, let's hope so.
Good luck, Shay.
Thank you, Shay.
All right, thank you.
Have a good night. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye.
Okay. Next caller. I was going to say, speaking of singing, you could have just sang that to her.
I will. I love singing. I will sing.
Yeah, one of your many talents over there. Okay, caller 2663, you're on the air. Who are we talking to? And I think you're on the air. There we go. Now you're on the air. Who are we talking to?
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. Hi, this is Brittany speaking. This is such a great show. Thank you so much. Hi.
Thank you.
So my question is,
I was just going to ask you, did you have a question? And you're so psychic. You were already telling me.
I am. I'm right there with you telepathically.
Yeah.
So my question is, I just have this new love in my life that's it's unfolding beautifully, and I just wanted to see if you can give me some more insight into what you see surrounding it.
Absolutely. So it's really cool that you bring up a new love interest, because I just pulled a few cards for you as you were talking. I pulled a 2 of rods, and what this means is that you have a choice. And what you are choosing to do right now is leaning into these new emotions, which I'm getting a sense that this is kind of new for you, new territory in the regard of like this, it's going really, really well and your heart is wide open. Is that resonating? Okay. So the message that I have for you is tapping into what the external sources are telling you, ignoring that a little bit, tapping into how you feel and how you feel with this other person is going to take you really, really far. So sometimes we can get caught up in what other people like want from us, or what they think, or what they might be projecting onto you. I don't know if this is like people in general around the two of you, or maybe it's one influence in your life, but giving that some space and giving you the space to really just give in to this, just give over, fall in love, and just lean in and have the best time that you can and not really worry too much about what other people think.
Oh, wonderful. That's perfect. Yeah, you're talking about my mom.
Okay. Yeah, and
bless her heart.
As an additional piece of research for you, I recommend doing some research this week on the archetype of the Hierophant. That is a major arcana card that I pulled for you, and doing a little bit of research on that can help you, and it can expand kind of your understanding of what you've got going on right now.
Oh, wonderful. Yay, I love homework. I'm definitely going to do that.
Awesome.
I don't hear that very often, so I'm just going to bathe in that I love homework thing.
It's spiritual homework. I can do spiritual homework. It's a fun time.
Wonderful.
Thank you for calling.
Thank you, Brittany.
Absolutely.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, so real quick again, if you have a question, press the number 1. It'll put a question mark by your phone number. If you are not where you can get to the phone number, the call-in number is 323-642-1397. And just press the number 1. That'll get you on the board with a question mark. Okay, next caller, 2574. You're on the air. Who are we talking with? Are you there? I hear someone. I feel like I'm listening to somebody that butt dialed us or something.
They're in a tunnel.
Yeah. 2574, are you with us?
Hello?
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
We're doing good. Who are we talking with? And what's your question?
This is Kimberly.
Hi, Kimberly.
And I'm calling from Georgia. Hi.
From Georgia?
My question is,
Nice.
My question is really about creativity. I think that's a void in my life. I think I'm really just going through the motions, and I just need to pinpoint what I really need to be doing.
So I have a couple questions for you. When you are the most happy and time seems to go away, what is it that you're doing?
When I'm being creative, sometimes when I'm writing, sometimes when I'm dancing.
I love it. That's wonderful. So what we're talking about here is tapping into flow state. So when time goes away and you are dancing or you're writing, that is what you're here to do. So if you're feeling void, if you're feeling trapped, if you're feeling like lackluster in your life, what I encourage you to do is find that space and be the queen. The queen is the card that I pulled for you. It's very Egyptian, and it has this air of royalty. And so tapping into your queen space, when you go into your plane of existence where you're connecting to your soul and your writing, get to that place and stay there and go there as many times and stay there as long as you can, because that is where your creativity comes from. And when you tap into that, that will ripple out into the rest of your life. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yes.
Awesome, girl. Keep writing and keep
Let
dancing.
that ripple begin.
Yeah. Lots of big energies there, girl. Get it. You got some time for the holidays. Lock yourself in a room and turn on some music and do some writing about whatever you want to write about.
Okay, I just had this image here of Kimberly locking herself into a room. Her family's going, Mom, where are you? No. They told me to lock myself in a room.
I'm being the queen. Next.
Oh, my goodness.
Make your own dinner.
I love it. Okay. Time for you. Okay. Well, thank you for calling. Yeah. Hey, that's my house. I guess I need to go lock myself somewhere, too. Fend for yourself. There's chicken in the fridge.
There you go. Thank you, Kimberly.
All right. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Amazing.
Okay,
Amazing question.
perfect.
I wish more people were asking that question. I adore that question.
Yeah. Well, I'm over here trying not to laugh because my own answers come in when you ask those questions, and you're asking when does time go away? And the thing that popped in, when I'm sleeping. And I'm like, brother. And I'm trying not to laugh because it was such a corny answer. I have guides that think they're funny, and
when I'm asleep.
I think they're funny too.
That's amazing.
It goes away when I'm sleeping. It seems like I put my head down, the alarm goes off. Does that count?
Well, that's your flow state. Then you need to sleep more. I know that.
I gotta go, guys. It's nap time.
Hey, I know that's what I need.
My life.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let's see. Next caller, 6176. 6176. You're on the air. Who are we talking with?
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, my name's Liz. I'm from Indiana.
Hello.
Hi.
Oh, Indiana. I love this. You guys are all over.
Yeah.
It's good. And what's your question tonight?
Question is, I am wondering if I should look into going for a master's in written communication.
Ooh, that's a great.
You asked the right person.
Yeah. So what I pulled for you is mental conflict. So this is a 2. Usually this means a choice. So you have a choice. And what he's looking over into is the night. And the night triumphs over adversity. So when it comes to making these huge decisions in your life, you are looking at probably 2 good options. So let me ask you a question. What makes you want to go for this master's degree? What's the best part of going for this master's degree?
In the communication?
Mm-hmm.
Writing, what do you call it? Novels, children's books.
That's really cool.
You said children's books, and I got chills.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Wow.
So one of the cards that I pulled for you was the Crown Chakra. So when you think about connecting to the source energy and your higher purpose, this is what I want you reflecting on before you make this decision. So going within and doing some extra meditation this week and letting all of the thoughts and all of the lists you've made and all the pros and cons and all of the everything that you've been throwing at it thought-wise, let's let that settle a little bit. And I want you connecting to your heart space. Connecting to your heart space is what's going to really give you the real answers. Because, and I can tell you from experience, I've gone for multiple graduate degrees, and then I've dropped out, and I've gone here, and I've gone there. You know, we all through life go about this winding path. So it's all part of the process. So trusting in that process, in that divine process that you're in, and not feeling like you are pressured to make any decision, that you will make this decision in its divine timing. Okay, that's extremely important to reflect on right now. Does that resonate with you?
Yes.
Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to link my favorite heart opener meditation in the chat. Let me link this over. And I strongly encourage you to listen to this. It's going to really help you with letting some of that mental conflict wash away so that you can hear the truth of your heart. Okay?
So I'm going to jump in real quick as you're saying all of that, Teresa. What I kept hearing is say yes to you, and it opens your power chakra. It just opens it up. You get empowered, and then the energy starts to flow for you for all of this. So are you in the chat room, either one of the chat rooms?
Okay.
You are?
No.
Okay. So
no. Oh, okay. That's fine.
So we need to find a way to get you that link.
Yeah. Well, honestly, if you go to YouTube and then you look up guided meditation to open heart and put that in parentheses, or I'm sorry, quotations, then you should be able to find it. But it's a really good meditation. I highly recommend it.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you for calling in.
Have a good night.
Decision.
Yeah. Okay. Have a good night. Bye-bye. Okay. We got a few more callers here. So let's Do you need to take a breath, get a drink? Do you need somebody to massage your shoulders?
No, let's do it, girl.
Like, you have someone like that?
It's a party.
I would love to have somebody massage the shoulders, but we'll keep going. Okay. Caller 9271, you're on the air. Who are we talking with?
Hi.
What's your question?
Hello. This is Valine. Hi, Tracy. Hi, Teresa.
Hello.
Okay.
Yeah, hi.
So, Valine, do I have permission to tell your deepest, darkest secrets?
Sure. Go for it.
Oh, I love your willingness. It really isn't that bad. But we were talking about the incredible new kids coming in, and Valine had me tune into her oldest son. Remind me his name.
Briar.
Okay.
Like a briar patch.
I wanted to say Matthew, and I knew it was wrong because that's another friend's son. So when I was tuning into him, I was seeing through his eyes, and he was seeing energy flowing through things. And he didn't know that other people couldn't see it like that. But like if you looked at a tree, he could see the motion of the energy in the tree, the way the leaves were moving energy and everything. And it was so cool to look through his eyes. So I just had to brag about that a little bit because he's one of those very psychic children. So,
that's
okay.
Well,
really
this
cool.
whole radio show. So I have to say, I'm a huge fan of both of you. Tracy, you know that. But Teresa, I got turned on to you when I went onto YouTube and I was researching Corey Good. And I saw your interview with Stacy, and I was like, yes, we need to hear her story. And so when I saw that and I watched the interview, which was great, by the way, it was just, it was really awesome.
Well,
Super
thank
cool.
you.
So thank
and
you
it's
for
nice
that.
Absolutely. It's nice to chat with you. Yeah, I think us women, we were, especially, I'm not, saying men weren't, but I know us women were like super, super excited and just feeling really empowered by Stacey's message. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. When she said about the Mayans in the living room, I was like, oh, this is so good.
Awesome.
Well, it's weird because I do have a question. Everything in this radio show, though, I have to say, parallels. It's like, oh, check that off list. Yes, me too.
That's awesome.
But you brought it up, Tracy, about my son and stuff too, and which is kind of interesting. When I was pregnant with him, is I was because we owned a bike shop then. I don't know if you remember when we were going through that. Yeah.
So
and I'm on
the way
the
I know
laptop
Valine is through her mother, and her mom would call me and ask questions.
Tracy has helped through a lot of stuff.
Aww.
And anyways, I was on the laptop and I was typing, and then I just sit there and I watch these two blue orbs or spheres go into my pregnant belly, and I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. And that was when I was pregnant with Briar.
Oh,
and so it's kind of unique and interesting.
Wow, that's so cool,
Yeah.
Valine. How large were the spheres?
They looked like probably about the size. I don't even know. I mean, they weren't huge. They were small.
Interesting.
They looked like
half of a fist,
I don't know how
maybe?
to describe how big they were. Yeah, no, smaller than that. They
Interesting.
I can't even think. Like smaller, like not the size of a period, like at the end of a sentence. But I don't know. It was larger than that though.
Interesting.
But they were very bright and very blue. And I was like, oh, they're just going. And I didn't even think anything of it. And then when my son was born, I was holding him in my arms, and it just felt like he was like, what the F? Why am I here? Because this place is freaking intense. And he was a newborn. So he
was
really
he
required
ever
me
really
to
a
be,
newborn?
Yeah.
I should think he ever really was.
So it was just intense, and but when I was holding him one time, he had a metal. All of a sudden, like it looked like a metallic orb came out of his third eye, and I'm like, and it was in a moment of pure, like when you have your babies and you're like, oh my God, I love you so much. I can't believe you chose me. It's like it's a really, I don't even know how to describe it, but it's just like a moment of reverence where you're just like fall to your knees, holy crap, and it was one of those moments. And then this metallic orb comes floating out of his third eye, and I was like, all right. So anyways, but
wow.
I could say so many parallels with everything you guys are talking about, but Tracy said, be mindful of the time. So yes.
That's amazing, Valine. Thank you so much for sharing. That's awesome.
Yes.
Did you want her to draw some cards for
my
you?
question. Yeah, that would be really cool. So right now, my husband, who's been like an overachiever his whole life, is now at a point where it feels like the universe has kind of brought him to his knees. And it feels like the universe is pushing me forward and saying, you weren't going to do it otherwise. We had to force this. And so I'm just wondering if the Spirit has anything to say about career opportunities for either one of us, or if I'm perceiving the next move correctly.
I'm actually getting a really, really large message for you that's coming out of all the decks. I mean, I pulled a card from the decks, and they're all saying the exact same thing, which I think is pretty fascinating. I don't know if you guys might be moving locations soon, but there is a gigantic shift happening right now for the better. This is a really big soul shift that the two of you are going. What I'm seeing right now is like a binary star system, and you guys are being like, you're coming closer together through this. And you're balancing each other out really well. So retain that balance is going to be very paramount as you guys go through this shift. So being mindful of what you both need and being very articulate of that, being communicative and letting the other person know what your needs and desires are is going to help keep you on the same level. And you might be moving soon.
Oh my gosh, that's weird. That's scary. We just moved because a little background is my husband is in the SEAL teams in San Diego, and Spirit said, you guys have to move to Utah. So we're like, okay. So he got out of the military, and it's weird that you said the binary star thing, because my husband and I, when we were in San Diego, we would he would communicate things in the dead of his sleep. And somebody came, like my husband, I don't know, we would just have weird experiences with ETs in San Diego in our home out there. And so it's funny that you say that, because I always felt that with him. It was more of a star connection than ever anything else.
Well, you're being divinely protected for sure, because every card I'm looking at has blue in it. One of them is the Chariot, so that's your significator this week. So I want you looking up the Chariot archetype. And this is someone who shifts into like a brand new space of soul development and has all the tools that he needs in balance and moving forward. And there are 7 stars in a blue sky around his head, and then the next card that I'm looking at is the 6 of Swords with the blue swords, and then we have the Winds of Change with the blue wind. So there's a lot of this blue energy around you. This is the throat chakra, opening that up, leaning into speaking your truth, and leaning on each other through this is huge. And just understanding that your surroundings will undergo a transition, and it is for the benefit of your development. And I see this bringing you and him like super, super close together, whatever you guys are going through, and just kind of leaning into that blossoming relationship.
Awesome. Wow. It fits. We're renovating our house right now, but we're so open. Yeah.
That's amazing. Well, there's a lot of positive uplifting. Absolutely, Valerie. It's so nice to chat with you on the air. Thank you for calling in.
Thank you, Valerie.
Heck yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Tracie.
Okay, we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, Teresa.
Bye-bye.
Absolutely.
Okay. I think, I'm looking at our time. I think we got 3 more callers on the board, so let's see how fast we can go. Okay, caller 3774, you're on the air.
Yes, hi, my name is Suzanne. Excuse me, thanks for taking my phone call.
Hi, Suzanne.
Hi, Suzanne.
Hi. I had 2 quick questions. I applied to like a couple of jobs as a teacher aide, teacher assistant. Do you see me getting something for January? And when the heck will I ever have a boyfriend, a companion?
Okay, job for January.
I'm supposed to limit it to 1, but I'm going to let Teresa decide if she wants to grab both of those.
These are both important.
Yeah, they are, especially during the holidays. I'm single, and the holidays always kind of bite when you're like, everybody shows up as a couple, and here's me.
No reason I should.
Yeah.
So let's see. We've got a lot of cards for you that are really positive. I'm seeing the first card that I pulled is Light, and it's this woman, and she's reaching out, and she has golden light all around her. So you have so many amazing opportunities around right now that it's kind of insane. So I don't know what this opportunity is going to look like, but I did pull the serendipity card for you, which does mean that bright new prospects are on the horizon. So your spirit animal right now is the butterfly, connecting to that transformative butterfly that represents leaning into life and experiencing all of the beauty around you all the time. And when you connect to that flow, you connect to that infinite possibility that surrounds you, it's going to carry you into amazing opportunities. So when you start to get scared or you're afraid or you're bogged down by stress, I want you just remembering that this is all a divine experience. And when you connect to that, you actually pull that type of energy into your field. So going through that spiritual shift is going to help you get through this next period. And I do think that you have some really bright prospects on the horizon, for sure, very soon.
Okay.
Oh, and you had the question. Sorry, you had another question about meeting somebody. Hold on, let me do this.
Oh, I thought that was the prospects on the horizon. I was like,
maybe that is. Maybe that's both of it, dude. Well, yeah. It's funny because I did just pull Spiritual Union, which is totally epic, and it's another golden light card with a couple looking into a golden chalice. So this has a green leaf on it, which tells me spring. So looking forward to spring, maybe March time, April. But again, like I said before, I think that these two questions, like Tracie was saying, are connected. So just really connecting to that space of divinity is going to carry you through and bring these opportunities directly into your life.
And I'm going to jump in there if that's okay. Have you ever cut cords? What? Have you ever cut cords or asked to heal cords? Okay. Good. So you know what I'm talking about. Yeah. That makes this a lot shorter. There's one that's attached to your tailbone, and it goes into a past relationship. I don't know that you need to know what that is. I'm just seeing that it's there and that the angels can help you to move that. And then that'll help you move forward with the relationship. Okay.
Oh, can you cut it?
Well, I always do when I'm talking about it. I'm in my mind doing it. So we'll put some energy in that for you, or I will personally put some energy in that for you, Susan, and but also call in your angels to help and ask that they remove the cord and send healing, love, and light in all directions, and for yourself as well. You know, forgiveness, love, light, do all that. Bring it in for yourself first, and then send it through the cord to all involved in the highest and best good, and just see it dissolve. Okay? So that will help.
All right. You do see a job and a significant other. I have to wait all winter for that?
I guess the answer to it is more ethereal. As far as what I was seeing in the cards was more like the shift that you can undergo in your heart will determine your future, if that makes sense. So leaning into the opportunities that you have and really channeling that divine space and heart space is going to help you connect to the universe. When you make a decision in your mind and you really connect to that decision, that's what allows you to make connections in your life. So if you're giving the universe mixed signals, then you're going to get mixed signals back. So sitting in a space of heartfelt purity and really connecting to happiness, I think is really going to help you pull all of the things that you want in your life into your life. Because when you connect to the infinite possibilities that are around you at any given moment, you can quite literally change your life and get what you want in 1 second flat. All it has to do with is changing your mind and the way you feel. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I'm open and things like that to it, and I don't think about the past, and I want to find somebody. I just haven't found, it's like, I don't know.
It can be a timing thing sometimes, but do the work, do the clearing, ask for the angels to assist you to be open for that relationship to come in. It could be that the other person isn't ready yet, so that might be why it's spring. So I have a bunch more callers to get to, sweetie, but
all right,
do some of that work, okay?
Thank you.
All right, you have a good night. Bye-bye.
You too.
Okay. So real quick before we take this next caller, let's shout out your websites again so that we don't run out of time for that. And just let the audience know, the ones that are not in the chat rooms, all the links are in the chat rooms. So if you go to Blog Talk or the Heart and Soul Radio chat on Facebook, you'll find the links. But those who aren't there, here they are again. Go.
It's thedivinefrequency.com. You can also find me on YouTube if you just search Divine Frequency. But you don't really have to remember any of that because it's all on my website. So if you just go to thedivinefrequency.com, you are good to go. You can find me.
She's there. Everything you need to know. Okay, that was quick and easy. So now we can get to the next caller here. And the next caller is 6016. You're on the air. Who are we talking with?
Hi. Hi, my name is Tanika.
Hi, Tanika.
Hi.
And what's your question, hon? We got 5 minutes, so we got to make it real quick.
Okay, I just wanted to know what you guys see from me with love life.
Love life. Okay, let's see.
See, you do sound effects too. Now I don't feel so bad.
I know. I noticed you doing sound effects earlier. I'm like, good, we can hang out. We can totally hang out.
Totally sound effects people. Can't have dead air. Must make noise. La, la, la.
I love it.
So funny.
Okay. So this is a very big message from your guides right now. Unseen forces are watching over you and guiding you. So are you feeling a little bit like you're floundering a little bit, like you're trying to find some direction lately?
Yeah.
Okay. So I want you connecting to the support system that you have in your life. I don't know if this is a sister or a friend, but you're not alone. You're not alone with the people around you who care about you, and you're also not alone when it comes to your angels and your guides, because they are all around you, and all you need to do is ask for help. So what I see for you in the near future is really connecting to the understanding that you're not alone. And when you realize that you're not alone and you're surrounded by love, that's going to help you find the person you're supposed to be with. So does that make sense?
Yeah, because I do feel alone a lot.
Okay. Yeah, and I think part of it, too, is sometimes you can remember back to maybe really good times that you had with somebody in the past, and it's kind of overshadowing you moving forward. Is that sort of coming through? Is that resonating with you?
Yeah.
Okay. Was this like the most recent ex that you had, or maybe someone from either further past?
It's from like 2014, and then even before then.
Okay. Is there something, is there unfinished business there, or are you just kind of feeling like you're not going to find someone like that person?
It's both. I don't really know why it ended, and it just seems to just be like it'll never come back around again. It seems to be really done, and I don't try to be back in the person's life. I moved on and everything, but I never knew why it ended, and also it was just a really profound relationship. So it's hard to believe. It's just unexplainable. It's hard to picture getting something like that again, and it's also like why. You don't know why it ended.
So I'm hearing a really strong message that you're going through something very, very big right now in your life. So the feelings that you're feeling are extremely valid, and you are worthy. You are so freaking worthy. It's not even funny, girl. Like, I'm telling you. Like, you're going through a huge shift right now, and lean into that and just know that at the dark night of the end of the dark night of the soul that you're going through, you will triumph. I pulled right as you were connecting to these energies, and I can hear it in your voice that's coming through. I pulled triumphant success, and this is the sword of truth. And you are going to be happy, and you will find love. And what you're going through right now is all a part of that temperance process. But on the end of it is divine justice, and you will be rewarded. And I strongly encourage you to do this week is research the star, because this is the card that I pulled for you, and this archetype is going to really help you with understanding how on the end of the dark tunnel there is a light, and that light is you.
Okay.
Okay, sweetie? And I promise you, you're gonna get through this, and lean on the people that you know care about you, because you have so many people around you right now that are 100% rooting for you, and you're gonna get through it, and you're gonna be triumphant.
Okay.
Okay.
And now you've got more people rooting for you. We're all here rooting for you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, thank you for calling in.
Thank you.
And yeah, you have a good night.
Thanks, you too.
Okay, so we are down to the last minute, and here's my question for you. You did so well that you actually got down to where there's only one caller left. Now, I'm wondering if you're willing to stay on after the show closes. It won't shut that person off. It will still record, and we can do that last reading. Are you willing?
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Okay, so in our last 30 seconds on live blog, I would like to just thank you so much for being part of the show. There was so much information, and we didn't even really scratch the surface. So I do hope we can do it again. And I so appreciate you making the time. Now, I have one request. You have a signature goodbye. So now's the time.
All righty, guys. Bye.
All right, you guys. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye. Okay. And now we are not live, and I'm going to bring on that last caller. It is still being recorded for the archives, though. So last caller, 2340, you're on the air. Thank you for hanging in there with us. Doing good.
Thanks for taking my call. Rose Maria.
Hi, Rose Maria.
How are you? What are we going to
doing good.
I guess
I'm so glad you hung in there with us. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you. I guess I'll stay with the topic. I guess long-term relationship.
I love it.
I love it.
I still wanted like a new job to relocate with, but I guess I'm stuck here for a while on that one. So whatever you get, I know I met a guy at work today, but I don't think he's the one, but the one I really want, but you know what I mean. Whatever you can pick up.
I love the way I'm not the one I really want.
I love it.
So let's see what those cards say.
What's really cool is that, so I pulled the Lovers card for you, which this archetype represents falling in love with your life and really just connecting to this idea of being in love. And for you, you're already attracting this into your life. So you're already in that space, which is totally epic. So even if this guy's the one, you have such a clear head about it, and this is just, it's kind of surrounding you. I'm seeing this like swirling love energy that you're just kind of carrying with you everywhere. And I pulled the Page of Cups, which represents really good news when it comes to matters of emotion. So I'm really seeing this happening pretty quickly for you. And then I have, as far as your job situation, I have a juxtaposition of darkness looming on the horizon, but what comes next is material and spiritual prosperity. So what that tells me is that, yeah, you kind of already know you're kind of wading through crap right now, but that's okay, because when you go through all of this, you will get everything that you need. And it comes down to not just material prosperity, but also spiritual prosperity. So what I want you thinking about is how you can get to where you're going, not just from a money standpoint, but from a spiritual standpoint, and really trying to tap into what it is that makes you happy and how you can bring that into your life every day. So connecting that union of mind, body, and spirit every day. Okay.
Cool. Oh, you mean like blessings and all that stuff? I'm grateful. That's what you mean?
Yeah.
Or?
I love that you just said that. Yeah. When you wake up in the morning, I encourage you to connect to the concept of gratitude before you even leave the bed. Immediately when you wake up, that alarm goes off, think gratitude, and pull that gratitude into your body and just breathe that in and think about, man, that sun came up today for me. Just feel really, really grateful for as long as you can until you're like, okay, I have to pee, and then you got to get up.
Oh, sorry. That was me before we even got to gratitude. I'm like I got to pee. Oh, gratitude. Oh, no. Okay, Rose Maria. Well, did that help out?
Yeah, it did. Cool.
Perfect.
Appreciate it. So you mean like material? So you mean material stuff like phones or jeans and stuff like that, or you mean like the other way?
That's a great question. Yeah, for material prosperity, I mean it all. I mean earthly prosperity. So money, that's like housing, like whatever it is that you need in a material sense. When you tap into that spiritual gratitude, yeah, absolutely. Great question.
All right. Cool. Appreciate it.
All right. Thank you.
Great.
Thank you for calling in. Bye-bye.
Thanks, you too. Bye.
Okay, so we get to sign off again because this is the archive version now. So thank you once again, and thank you for hanging in there for that last caller. It would have haunted me all night to go, we made it through all but one.
All but one, yes. Oh my gosh, I'm glad that we did. That was so much fun, Tracie. Thank you so much for having me on the show. I can't wait to come on again, and I can't wait to have you on Divine Frequency. So thank you from the bottom of my heart, and letting me hang out with you and your listeners. They're awesome. So.
They are awesome. I love my listeners. And, of course, some of them said, oh, look, Teresa's on, and they all just went swarming to it. And so that's awesome. I encourage everyone, if you're not already following Teresa, go over to her YouTube and follow her. The insightful messages just never end. They never do. So there you have it. Okay, you guys.
Alrighty,
see you next week. We're going to be doing crystals next week. I have someone talking about crystals, so that'll be fun. And,
all right.
I know.
All right.
Lots of good times. Well, you have a happy holiday season, and I hope to be talking to you soon.
Absolutely. All right. Love you guys.
Okay.
Speak your truth. Bye.
Bye-bye. I love it.
Hi, it's Jamie, Progressive's #1, #2 employee. Leave a message at the... Hi, Jamie. It's you, Jamie. Don't be alarmed, but I think there's a guy following you. Maybe we should get that guard dog we talked about? Nothing too scary, maybe like a Bichon with an attitude? You know, Progressive's collision insurance covers injured dogs and cats at no extra cost, so... Wait, the guy stood up when I stood up. He's on the phone. He's looking right at me. Oh, wait, it's just my reflection. Don't tell anyone about this.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Pet coverage not available in New Hampshire and North Carolina.
Hi, it's Jamie, Progressive's #1, #2 employee. Leave a message at the... Hi, Jamie. It's you, Jamie. Don't be alarmed, but I think there's a guy following you. Maybe we should get that guard dog we talked about? Nothing too scary, maybe like a Bichon with an attitude? You know, Progressive's collision insurance covers injured dogs and cats at no extra cost, so... Wait, the guy stood up when I stood up. He's on the phone. He's looking right at me. Oh, wait, it's just my reflection. Don't tell anyone about this.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Pet coverage not available in New Hampshire and North Carolina.